Hello, everybody. Anthony Crane here with Pocket Coach, and we're bringing you another experiment. This one is the daily stand-up. Now, you're thinking, what am I going to teach about daily stand-up that you don't already know? After all, it's in the Scrub Guide. So I think I'm going to show you some things that are pretty exciting. It's what makes ours so unique and interesting. Also, you're going to want to take a look at some of our other videos. We have a video on visualizing flow, a visual one on tools, and one on mob time. And so all three of those affect this one pretty deeply. So all three are pretty good to watch in addition to this. Anyway, daily stand-up. So what's the problem we're trying to solve with the daily stand-up, and what can we possibly show you that's unique and special? Well, number one, we need to pair and pivot during a sprint, and this is our chance to do that. Also, some of our team members like to work in silos, and we never understand what it is they accomplished. And when they're not around, we can't speak to their work. So that's not good either. So hypothesis, if you have a daily stand-up, it's a chance to increase collaboration. It's a chance to change your plan. It's a chance to increase collective ownership. And it's a chance to make sure that you increase quality because of the multiple minds effect, even when you're down a teammate. This one's a 4-week experiment. You ask people to persevere every 2 weeks. Typical outcomes. You should see an increase in your sprint velocity, increase in your product quality as well. Finally, what do you got to do? You've led a stand-up meeting and you've kept it to the 15-minute time box, which a lot of people struggle with. So we're going to show you some tricks to always keep that 15 minutes. So first off, if you haven't read the Scrum Guide, you can search for Scrum Guide, check out Daily Scrum. It's equivalent to the Daily Stand-Up, and take a look at what it says there. And that's bare minimum. You got to have done that. So I'm assuming you've done that. I'm not going to waste your time reading you the Scrum Guide. There are people who read the Scrum Guide. I thought maybe I should do that sometime. It'd be kind of fun. Anyway, so here's the deal. We have an agenda. You pick a daily stand-up style. So what's the style you want to do? And you can rotate that every day, or you can do that. And so there's lots of different styles of how to do your stand-up. You can go person at a time, what went right, what went wrong. You can go on your Kanban board, you can go from right to left. So you start with the stuff closest to done and you move over. You can also go story by story, right? So those are the three most common ways to do a stand-up meeting. So you pick your favorite way, you rotate your lead. Some people do it daily, some people do it weekly, but you rotate who leads it. It's not the Scrum Master. Everyone should lead it. Why? It increases collective ownership of the work in the sprint. So I prefer to rotate it daily, but some people like to do it weekly, whichever you like. The electronic wall driver, who's doing electronics, they should also be rotating. It could be the same person as doing the stand-up, or it could be someone else. And you should volunteer for tasks, and not be telling people what to do, T-shaped skills, etc. So that's all pretty typical. Down here on the bottom, we have some tips on physical walls. No one's doing that anymore thanks to COVID and Zoom, but if you do physical walls, here's some ways to do that. Also, one quick tip, if you do have remote team members, when you have local team members, have the remote team members do the tool, and that's how you know they're connected. Okay, so now 2.5 minutes left. What makes our stand-up meeting so special is that we treat it as a triage event. So that's why we can always get done in 15 minutes. And then what we do with the triaging is we label our stories. Then when we get into mob time, and again, go check out our mob time video, we use these labels in our mob time agenda to make the mob time as effective as possible. So the stand-up meeting is 15 minutes, and then people can split or they can stick around for mob time. So let us walk you through some of these labels that we use. We use swarm. So swarm is that you need all hands to unblock something. You want to show everybody, get everybody on board. PM collab is you need a product manager or product owner to unblock you. Breakout is I need a subset of the team to break out with me to work through some stuff. And again, all this stuff affects the mob session later on. Quick is something that can be done in less than 3 minutes. So you process the quicks right away, because that's a way to get a lot of quick action and a lot of quick value. Blocked otherwise, all these are blocked, but if you don't have, it's not blocked for some other reason, you can just use a generic block. Refine. If you find a story after 1 or 2 days after the sprint starts that's still not been refined well, or a story that's kind of in an advanced column on your Kanban board. And by the way, you'll learn about our columns if you take a look at our visualized flow experiment. We go through very detailed of all the columns that we like to use on our stand-up meetings. Anyway, refine implies that the story needs to be cleaned up. New, we use whenever we create a new story, we want to make sure if we put it on the backlog, it doesn't disappear. We want the whole team to agree to this or disagree. So we label it new until the team has a chance to talk about it. Again, this affects mob time. Dependency is any story that other teams have a piece of, and so we need to keep a bigger eye on that. It's a risk, really. Value delivery acceleration is any item that came from a retrospective or from someone's brain to make us a better team. We like to brag about those. And then finally, we have demo. During our sprint review, the ones labeled demo, those are the ones we show actual content. Review are the ones we just talk about, and it's a 30-minute time box. Sorry, it's a 30-second time box where we get to talk about the work of that particular story. And finally, skip. These are the ones that are not exciting enough to really warrant being shown off to our stakeholders in the sprint review. So there you have it in 5 minutes. This is what makes our stand-up meeting special. I encourage you to try adopting our labels and see if it gets you down to a 15-minute stand-up. My name is Anthony Crane, and I hope that you found our video on the daily stand-up useful, and let us know.